Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brandi, and this is Paradise Bags by Brandi. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make the moon bag. This bag comes in two different sizes, and if you're a 90s kid, you probably remember it as being called the Fanny pack. So I love the name of the moon bag because it kind of plays a little joke, or a little, plays on the name a little bit of a fanny pack. But it does come in two sizes, small and large. The front part of the bag does include some card slots, which I'll show you. So this is the one that we'll be making. So the front zipper pocket here does include some card slots here in the front, as well as a nice large opening to put a phone or maybe even another small wallet. It also has a very large opening here in the top, as well as a zipper pocket on the back. This is a binded bag with an adjustable strap to go around your waist, or to even wear it crossbody. This is a fantastic pattern. It comes together very quickly. It's a little addictive to make, especially with the two different sizes. So you have an adult size and then a kid size as well, but it's a lot of fun to make and to come together. As I mentioned, this is a binded bag, so I will be using gross grain ribbon in order to bind this bag, rather than turning it right side out. You can do this with this bag if you have a little bit of knowledge of how gussets work along with interior part of a bag, but the pattern does call for you to bind it. So with that being said, grab your pattern, grab your materials, and let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're going to need is piece J and piece L for our card slots. And what we're going to do with, piece I, not piece L. What we're going to do with our card slots is that you should already have them folded into this accordion style look here. So based off of your pattern, you'll want to make your lines, and then fold them the way that the pattern tells you to. It's pretty simple. Wrong sides go, odd numbers go right sides together, even numbers go wrong sides together. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to unfold this, and we want to top stitch our top lines here. Okay, just about 1/8 of an inch away. Okay, so just like that, we want to do that on all 3 card slots. Okay, so now that we have all of our card slot pieces top stitched, we'll want to take out piece J. Also, you want to make sure that your card slot is measuring, at least if you're doing the large one, at least 5 1/8. If it measures a little bit longer, you can always trim that off. But the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take piece J, and where this curved edge is at, we want to lay that at the top and clip that in place. And same thing with our other one. These should be mirrored pieces, so make sure that they're cut on the mirror. Line them up with your top. Don't line them up with your bottom, because if your card slot measures a little bit more than a 5 1/8 for the large and 4 1/8 for the small, we can always trim this bottom part off. So don't worry about that too much. So now we're going to sew this together. We're going to sew this side edge here at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so now that we have piece J sewn onto our card slots with the curved edge at the top of our card slots, we're going to open this up. So open J up. You can use an iron or a seam roller to roll these seams out. So just roll those out or press those out. And then we're going to top stitch along this edge here. So just like that. So you'll want to trim your threads, and then if you have any overhanging here at the bottom, you'll want to trim that off and set this to the side. Okay, so next we'll need piece C and piece G, which is your front pocket, front zipper pocket, and your zipper tabs, as well as your zipper. Depending on the size that you're doing, either the small or the large, you'll want to reference your pattern for what size zipper you'll need now, as well as your zipper pull. So go ahead and set piece C off to the side for a moment. Grab piece G. And we're going to take piece G. If you're using directional fabric, make sure that it's going in the same direction that it's supposed to. If you're not, then you don't have to worry about that. Add those to the bottom of your, either side of your zipper. Okay, just like that. And so now we're going to sew across here at 3/8 of an inch and then top stitch. Okay, so I've top stitched my zipper tabs onto my zipper. Sewn them on and I've top stitched them. Now you may have an interior back piece. If you do, then you'll want to top stitch around the entire thing. I've also found the center of my zippers. Go ahead and pull out piece C, just your exterior piece for now. You can set your interior piece to the side. So here you'll need to make a determination. Do you want your zipper to close on the right side or the left side? For me personally, I want my zipper to close on the right side. So when I'm attaching my zipper to piece C, I can see that it's closing this way. If you want it to close to the left side, then you would just move your zipper to close to the left side. So if I want it to close to the right side, I'm going to move my zipper over to the right side. I'm going to clip my center zipper to the center of my piece C. And go ahead and go all along that straight line there. Now this is where it can get a little difficult, but if you just kind of work with it, you'll be fine. Go ahead and open your zipper up. Pull your zipper tab down here to the bottom to match up with the bottom of piece C. And go ahead and clip along the straight edge. Leave your rounded part just where it is for right now. We're going to come over here to this other side. And again, clip that straight edge. So now here in our curved edge, we're just going to take and put tiny little clips into our curve. Not very big, just tiny ones. Just enough to help it ease around that curve so that we don't end up with any buckles or puckers. Just make sure that that zipper is laying nice and flat. If you need to make adjustments, you can. Depending on what type of zipper you're using, you may actually have a little bit of overhang down here at the bottom, and that's fine. We can always trim that off. It's not going to hurt anything. You just don't want a lot hanging down. But we do want that zipper to lay just as flat as possible. So just like that. So you can see now that my zipper is laid nice and flat around that curve. So go ahead and do that to the other side. So just like that. Okay, so now we're going to base this in place at 1/8 of an inch, just our zipper to our external piece at 1/8 of an inch, and then we'll come back. Okay, so now that I have my zipper attached to my exterior piece C, I'm going to grab my lining piece C, and you should have your centers marked, just like that. We're going to add that right sides together with our zipper and clip that in place. Now because we don't have quarter markings here, I'm just going to clip both of my centers down, and I want to clip this zipper out of the way. And then clip along the rest of the way. Matching up my bottom pieces, my bottom corners of piece C, and then clipping along that straight edge. If you need to, so here where my zipper wants to kind of pooch out or buckle out a little bit, I'm just going to stick it, push it back down in there. And then use my clips to make sure that it stays pushed out of the way. So we don't want to hit our zipper when we go to sew this. And the same thing up here. So just take and push that zipper out of the way. And then use your clips to hold it out of the way. And then I just take my tweezers or my scissors and just kind of push that zipper down. Let's try that again. Take and push my zipper down. And then clip it. Okay. So now we should have something that looks a little bit like a burrito. We're going to sew this together at 1/4 of an inch. Turn it right side out and top stitch it. Okay, so now we should have piece C, exterior and interior, sewn to our 12-inch if you're doing the large, but to our zipper with our zipper pull, as well as our zipper tabs. If you had any overhang down here, you'll just want to trim that off. Okay, so you should have something that looks just like that. So now we want to grab piece B, as well as our card slots. Set your card slots off to the side for a moment and work with just piece B. You should already have your centers marked as well as your quarter markings marked out of piece B. So we're going to be attaching this zipper pocket to this interior cutout. So the first thing that we're gonna want to do is unzip your zipper all the way. Pull your zipper that's free to the front. Grab piece B, and we want. Okay, so now we're gonna want to take piece B and our piece C. We want to line up this interior edge here to the exterior part of our zipper pocket. Okay, so just like this. So we're going to take and line up our bottoms first. And this can get a little wonky trying to do this, but just work slow. So I line up my bottom pieces first on either side. So just like that. And then I'm going to take this top piece and kind of turn it in and line it up with my zipper. And then line up that top part. Just like this. Now when you get to this part, you're thinking, oh my gosh, my zipper is way too big. It's not. We're just going to kind of feed it into those curves. Just again, take your time with it. We'll work out all of those lumps and bubbles and puckers along the way when we're when we're basting this in place. You need to kind of turn it around or however you need to do it. And I like to kind of try and pull mine a little straight, just like that. Okay, so now you've got something that looks a little funny. I'm going to try and show this as best as I can on camera, but we're going to baste stitch this zipper in place with piece B all the way around. And this time I want you to do a basting stitch of 1/4 inch. Okay, now that we have our zipper basted in place with our exterior piece B, we want to take our card slot, turn it around, and then add right sides to wrong side of zipper. So this is the wrong side of our zipper here. And line up your center. Clip that in place. Come down here to the bottom and clip your bottom in place. It wants to kind of fight you, but don't let it fight. Just get it clipped there. And then maybe another clip just above that to hold it. And the same thing on this other side. Clip that in place. Okay. And then clip along your top here. Just like this all the way. Now if your card slot is wanting to pucker a little bit, just let it pucker. It's not going to be noticeable on the inside, but for the most part it should fit pretty even along with it. And we can always make adjustments as we're sewing. So just like this. So now we're going to sew this in place at 1/4 inch, and then we'll top stitch. Okay, so now I have piece C and piece B sewn together, and then I have it top stitched, making sure that my seam is staying to the outside, is pointed out, just like that. So now what we want to do is we want to take and line up our centers. And clip those in place all along. And then you're going to have where you'll need to fold over your zipper tab. So just take and fold those over to match up to piece B. So just like that, a little Z. And just clip that in place. One of the reasons why I don't do the lining piece on the zipper tab is because this little portion right here can get really thick. And so I've just chose to keep out the interior part of the zipper tab so that I have less thickness there. Okay, so just like that. So now we're going to want to baste this in place. Just about 1/8 inch with a basting stitch. Okay, go ahead and trim your threads. And so now you should have a piece that looks just like this, with our card slots on the inside and our zipper pocket complete on the outside, with either your zipper closing to the right or to the left. Go ahead and set this piece off to the side. Okay, now we want to pull out piece A, our zipper pocket, our zipper pull, and our zipper. And for right now, we just want one of the external piece A pieces. In the pattern, she has you put on a zipper overlay. I won't be doing a zipper overlay. Instead, I'm just going to be cutting a box from out of my vinyl and adding my zipper pocket that way. So follow the instructions for adding the zipper overlay if you would like to do that. But for me, I'm just going to cut that box out of my vinyl and add my zipper pocket that way. Okay, so now that I have my zipper pocket added to my back piece, we'll want to grab our front exterior, our back exterior, and our two lining pieces. Now, if you're choosing to put a zipper pocket on the inside, you'll want to do this already. So grab one of your lining pieces and one of your exterior pieces. And we're going to lay these wrong sides together. We're going to match up all of our quarter markings. First, so line up all of those quarter markings around the whole thing. And then add your couple of clips around it. Just to make sure that nothing shifts along the way. Okay, so do this to both the both exterior pieces so that you have your lining pieces on the inside. And we're going to base stitch this all the way around the outside of both exterior pieces. Okay, so now that we have basted our lining to our exterior pieces, we're just going to set these off to the side. You want to pull out piece F and your webbing pieces along with your hardware. So you should have a D-ring, a slider, and a lobster claw or lobster clip. You'll want to cut anywhere from a 2 to 3 inch piece of webbing from your long piece, or just cut an additional 2 to 3 inch piece of webbing. So you'll make the adjustment for this webbing here depending on how long you want it to be. All right, set piece F off to the side for a moment and grab your long webbing and your slider. And so to make your slider, if you take and hold your slider with the slider up, so you can see my bar is facing up, this would be facing down. So you can see the difference there. Okay, so facing up, put one strap through, and then pull across the slider so it looks just like this. Okay. Depending on the type of webbing that you're using, you may not be able to do this next step, and you may only fold it over once, but I'm going to fold mine down by about 1/2 inch and then fold it over onto my long piece of my strap. So just like that. Okay, I'm just going to add a clip to that. So just like that. Now I'm going to sew across here twice, just 2 horizontal lines. You can also do a box if you would like. I just do 2 horizontal lines across, and that's plenty for me. So the way that I do this So I take my strap, set it down underneath my needle, just about 1/8 of an inch from that folded edge. Once I get to my end here, I'm going to take and rotate my entire piece around, and I'm going to sew back. Try and get into the same holes as when you went the first time. And then to do my second line, I'm going to rotate again, and I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch from that first line. Okay, rotate it, and then sew back. Just like that. Trim my threads. And now you should have something that looks just like this. So now I'm going to grab my lobster claw, and I'm going to feed that on here. Okay, so right now I have my wrong side facing up, so I want to put my lobster claw on upside down. Feed it all the way on. And then I'm going to go up through my slider, across my bar, and then back down. Okay, so now you should have something that looks like that. Okay, and then just set this off to the side for a moment. Grab your short piece and your D-ring. Go ahead and slide that on, and then we're just going to base this in place. Just so that when we go to attach it to piece F, it's not sliding all over the place. Okay, grab both exterior piece F pieces. And for right now, we're just going to work with our 2 exterior pieces, but make sure that you're grabbing 2 that are mirrored. So what I like to do is take my pieces, and I find the ones that when I put them right sides together, they're the same shape. So if these were 2 pieces, so those are my mirrored pieces. Okay, grab those in your D-ring, and this short edge here, we want to attach our D-ring to. So what I like to do is I like to find the center of this short edge just to ensure that I'm getting my D-ring nice and even. And attach that centered with it. Okay, and then same thing with my other piece. And then grab my long strap. Now we want to put our long strap slider down, okay, so that it's basically right sides with right sides. Line up my center and just add a clip. So go ahead and base both of these in place. Same thing with my long one. Go ahead and trim any threads. Okay, for the moment, go ahead and set your long strap out of the way. And grab your interior piece. And so we're going to take these and we're going to put them right sides together. And we're going to sew the straight edge across the top and down the diagonal edge here. You're going to do this at 3/8 of an inch. However, depending on the hardware that you're using, you may not be able to get 3/8 of an inch past this. You may have to do 1/4 of an inch, and 1/4 of an inch will still be fine. So go ahead and sew both of these in place and turn them right sides out. Okay, so now I have my piece F connected to my webbings, both webbings, so D for the D-ring and the slider. So I'm just going to pull one of these out of the way for a moment. Pull out your your exterior piece. Okay, and we're going to add piece F to where our long straight piece here is going to be against our exterior piece on the side. And so you're going to line up basically just the straight edge. So if you kind of look at it, the curve starts here. Right where that curve starts, you can also kind of line it up with the bottom of your zipper pocket here. I'm going to attach that with just some clips real quick. And then on the other side, I want to do the same thing, but I want to make sure that my slider is facing up. Okay, don't do it that way because it'll be backwards. Okay, so slider facing up. Again, I'm going to line up with my zipper pocket and clip that in place. This is another section where I recommend that you use some lighter weight material, or instead of maybe using your exterior vinyl, if you're working on a domestic machine, maybe consider using a lighter weight cotton for this particular piece because it does get pretty thick down here in the corners. So now we're going to base this in place. Kind of move everything out of the way. And then on the other side, go ahead and trim your threads. Okay, so this next part is really important. If we have anything overhanging from our exterior piece, so if we have any lining that's overhanging the exterior, we want to go ahead and trim that now. It'll make it a lot easier when we go to do our binding. If everything is nice and even and we don't have any scraps kind of overhanging that. So go ahead and trim all of that off. If you have any, you may not have any. I have just little slivers here and there. So when we go to add that binding, it just makes it a lot easier. And you'll do that to the exterior back and the exterior front. So again, same thing, just little slivers here and there, but it does make a huge difference when we go to bind this, if everything is nice and even. But you should not be trimming any of your exterior at all, only your interior. Okay. So now you should have two completed exterior pieces, exterior front and exterior back, and now we're going to move on to the gusset and the top zipper. Okay, so now we're going to want to pull out piece E. You should have 4 pieces total, 2 exterior, 2 linings, your zipper, and your zipper pull. Go ahead and set your zipper pull off to the side for a moment. You should have already found the centers for piece E, but if you haven't, go ahead and mark those. And so I have mine marked already on both sides. So if they're not marked, go ahead and mark them. You'll also want to go ahead and mark the center of your zipper. And so I just take and fold it in half and put a little notch here. And then take a lighter and fuse that so that we don't end up with fraying later on. And on the other side, this just makes it easier to line everything up and make sure that it's good and even. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is grab one exterior and one lining piece. We want to take our exterior piece and line our zipper right sides to right sides. So right side of zipper to right side of exterior piece, and then right side of lining to wrong side of zipper. So just like this, and then you'll want to sew this in place at 1/4 inch. Okay, so now I have one side of my zipper gusset added to my zipper, and I went ahead and turned those wrong sides together and top stitched around the entire edge of the zipper gusset. So now we're going to do the same thing with our other pieces, and then we'll turn them wrong sides together and top stitch the entire edge, the entire outer edge and outer zipper pull. Okay, so now I have my zipper panel put together with my zipper pull and top stitched all the way around the outside. Again, you want to look and see if you have any overhang. You just want to go ahead and trim that off. So you shouldn't have much, but if you have a little bit, go ahead and just trim that down so that everything is nice and even. This just makes it, again, a lot easier when we go to add our binding on. So now we want to grab piece D, which is our bottom gusset. Go ahead and set your interior to the side for just a moment. We're going to take piece D and we're going to lay it right sides together with our zipper gusset. And we're going to line up our outside pieces. Now you're going to have something that looks like this where it's overhanging. You just want to take and line that up. Don't let that overhang stay like that, because then here in the center we're going to kind of push down and put that zipper right in the center. Okay, so where it's just like that. Okay, you want that to happen that way because we have curved edges. We need these gussets to kind of curve in and out, so we want it to look like that. So your edges should be lined up, and then just take that center where that zipper is and just kind of push it down out of the way. And then we're going to baste this in place on either edge. So same thing on the other side. Take and line your edges up. And I line my edges, my side edges up first and add a clip. And then I just take and push my zipper down to where it lays flat and clip that in place. All right, go ahead and baste those on, just at about 1/8 inch. Same thing on the other side. Okay, trim any threads. So now bring your lining piece to the right side of our lining, so right side to right side. Line up your edges again. On both sides. And we're going to sew this in place along the edge here at 3/8 of an inch, and then we're going to turn our lining and our exterior wrong sides together and top stitch. Okay, so now I have my bottom gusset top stitched across. So now what we want to do is we want to then close all of this up. So we want to baste our lining piece and our exterior pieces together. So first you'll want to line up all of your quarter markings, and you should have had the quarter markings marked when you first started your pattern. That is in the prep section. So line up all of those quarter markings and then add clips in between those quarter markings. And this will help everything to lay nice and flat. So we don't want to end up with puckers while we're doing this. And the same thing on the other side. Line up the quarter marking, your center, and the other quarter marking. And then what I do is I just take and kind of pull this flat and just add another clip or two in between. The same thing here. So again, just pull it flat and add your clips. Okay, so now we're going to baste both edges in place at about 1/8 of an inch. And I find it easy if you just lay it on the bed of your machine, pull this piece out of the way, and baste it at 1/8 of an inch. So once I get to a clip, I'll then take and pull this down. Pull the clip. So as I'm sewing, I'm just pulling this other piece flat. I'll get around to the other side. And then we'll do the other side. So same thing, lay it flat. I'll get to a certain point, stop, pull my gusset flat again, and then continue sewing. Okay. Trim your threads. Just like that. Now the next thing that we want to check is we want to check and make sure that our center marks, so our center mark right here and our center mark here at the top are accurate. So I just take and pinch one and I pinch the other, and what I'm looking to make sure that my gussets are lining up, as well as my first quarter marks, which they are. And so I just want to check on the other side too. Those are really important, and you can see those are nice and lined up. Okay. So now we are going to take and attach our exterior pieces. Personally, I like to start with my front piece rather than my back piece, because the back piece has all those extra webbing and everything on it that can kind of get in the way. So I like to start with this piece first. So the first thing I want to do, again, because we're doing binding, I just want to inspect and make sure that I don't have any overhang and that everything looks good, which it does. And then the other thing that I want to look at is when this gusset piece is turned wrong side out, my zipper is closing going this way. Okay, so going this way. So I want to make sure that when I add my exterior piece that my zipper is closing the same way, which you can see here. I'll kind of hold it up. This zipper is going to end up going this way, and this zipper is going to end up going that way. So I want to move this to the other side, okay, so that now both of my zippers are going to close going the same way. Okay, so just make sure that when you're putting this together, you kind of look first to see which way the zippers are going, so I can see that this one is closing this way and this one is closing this way. Okay, so now we're going to clip this in place. Make sure to clip all of your centers first, as well as your quarter markings, along with the quarter markings on your gusset, and then we're going to baste this in place. Okay, so now I have my front piece basted in place, and it's just a true basting stitch, just about 1/8 of an inch. I did have to cut into my gusset piece just to get it to fit nice. I am working with a material that does not stretch very well, so I did have to cut into that a little bit. So now we're going to do the same thing to our exterior piece. So we're going to lay it down in there, right sides together. We're going to clip all of our quarter markings and baste it in place as well. Okay, so now I have both my side pieces attached to my gusset just with a basting stitch for the moment. We want to do the basting stitch first, just so that we can focus on making sure that we get all of our edges nice and straight and together. After you do that, you'll want to go around and trim off any overhang that you have. Again, that just makes it a lot easier when we go to add our binding. So the next step is to do just that, add our binding to our raw edges to cover those up. So you'll want to make a choice. You either want to finish this at 3/8 of an inch or finish this at 1/4 of an inch, depending on what type of binding you're using. Because I use 3/4 inch 3/4 inch gross grain ribbon, I'm going to finish mine at 1/4 of an inch. So whatever seam allowance you choose, you'll then want to choose a binding that is 3 times that width as the seam allowance. So I'm doing 1/4 inch, so I'm going to use 3/4 inch ribbon to finish this off. So I'm going to grab my ribbon and I'm going to attach it on here just so that you can see what it looks like, and then we'll get it sewn. Okay, so now I have my binding on the outside of one of my edges. And you can see where I overlapped it just a little bit there. You do want it to overlap a little bit just so that you don't see both edges. So now we're going to add binding to our other side, and we'll turn it right side out, and then we'll be done. Wow, that was a fantastic bag to make. It comes together so quickly and so easily. Hopefully you were able to make this bag and it come out just the way that you want it. Of course, if it's a little bit on the wonky side, you can always kind of adjust that and for your next one. This zipper pocket here in the front is a little tricky and it is a little difficult to work with, but I just know that you'll be able to get it done. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give it a big old thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please make sure to smash that subscribe button so that you can get all the future updates and videos as I upload them. So thanks so much, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.